Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. Today we are back here with the video containing class 9 English chapter The Best Advice I Ever Had question and answers. And yes students, this is part 2 of this question and answer session. Part 1 we have earlier done in the earlier video. I'll be sharing the link of the best advice I ever had explanation and part 1 question and answers in the description box for your reference. So let's proceed on with the part 2 of question and answer session. But before that, students, if you're viewing my video for the first time, do subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get the notification of my all the latest upcoming videos. Do watch the video till end, and if you like it, hit the like button and share with your friends. So students, come on, let's move on to the question and answers. First main we have already done in the earlier video, so we'll move on to see 3 questions which states following are some extracts from the lesson. Read them carefully and answer the questions that are given below each of them. So here we are having extracts. On the basis of this extract, we have some sub-questions. So let us read it and understand. The first question goes like this. Yet in law, we women were still recognized only through our relationship to men. So this is an extract given in the chapter. So the question related to this is, why does the speaker say so? Why does the speaker say this extract, this sentence? So the answer is, the speaker is bitter that in spite of being a woman of caliber who took part in the freedom struggle of the country, according to Indian law, she had existence only in relation to her husband and did not had her recognition independently. Right, students, when we go through the chapter, we come to know that the speaker was in a very bitter and angry state because when she comes to know that even when a woman is very strong, very helpful, and when she is taking part, equal part in freedom struggle of a country, according to the Indian law, she had existence only in relation to her husband. If the husband is no more or some mishap happens with the husband and he is not in the world, that the lady or the woman or the wife of that husband will not have any recognitions without him. So this was the situation of India at that time, and that made the speaker very bitter because she herself was undergoing this tragedy in her life. So there's where she says this extract. Okay. Moving on to next up question. What is the mood of the speaker while speaking the above words? So the question is like, what is the speaker while she is speaking this type of sentence? So answer is, she is both angry and bitter, and she also feels frustrated. Because students, we know that the speaker, the writer here herself has undergone this tragedy, and that made her too bitter and angry with the situation which arises in front of herself. And that makes her very frustrated because she is not allowed to do work, she is not allowed to live independently. So obviously her mood is angry and bitter. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Next extract is, no one can harm you except yourself. So there's an extract stating this in your chapter. The question related to this extract is, identify the speaker. Who is the speaker who says this extract in the chapter? So the answer is, the speaker is Gandhiji. We know that we also have Gandhiji in a conversation of this chapter. So there he says this extract while he is trying to counsel Mrs. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Okay, so the speaker here is Gandhiji. Then the next question, whom is the speaker addressing? So obviously, whom is the speaker means Gandhiji saying this extract. Answer is, the speaker is addressing to Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Okay, so it was said to Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Next question, what does the speaker mean by the above words? Why does the speaker say this? What does he mean by this extract, by this sentence? The answer is, the speaker advises each and every person to be in control of themselves. Only when there is self-control can one control others and any situation. So here speaker is trying to counsel and give advice to each and every person, and even Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, that they have to be in control of themselves. With whatever may be the situation, whatever difficulty may arise, you have to be in control. Only when there is self-control in yourself. You can control yourself and others in any situation. So that is how, when counseling, the speaker says the above words. Okay, I hope I made it clear, students. Moving on to the next one. I struck back with the same sharp weapon. So there's another extract is from the lesson. So based on that, the first question is, who is the I here? And at whom did the speaker strike back? So here I strike back. I struck back. Who is this I here? The answer is I refers to Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Okay. And whom did the speaker strike back? Like whom is she striking back? So she struck back at the opposing delegation at United Nations. So students, when we read the chapter, we come to know that this speaker, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, she had been to United Nations, and they had a debate and a discussion where opposite delegation, opposite team was sitting, and they were saying some few harsh words. And then at that time, she was using this weapon. She was striking back with the same kind of words which they were using. So at that circumstance, she has written this extract. She has mentioned this extract, like I struck back with the same sharp weapon. Okay. Next question. What was the weapon used by the speaker? What kind of weapon was the speaker using here? The answer is harsh words was the weapon used by the speaker. Okay, the weapon was nothing like any arms and armaments, but it was harsh words. Because the opposite delegation were also using the same kind of words, so to defend herself and the team, she was using this weapon, that is harsh words. So moving on to next one. What was the need to strike back? So the question is like, why? What is the need to give back the same kind of answer in the same tone and in the same harsh words? So answer is, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit's opponents made personal attacks that were harmful to the prestige of both Vijay Lakshmi Pandit and to her nation, India. So here it was needed. That strike was needed at that time because Vijayalakshmi Pandit's opponents, the opposite team, they were making personal attacks by saying harsh words. It was very harmful for both, with respect to both Vijayalakshmi Pandit and also to the nation, that is India, because she belonged to India. Even it was very harmful for the Indian nation. So to defend both of them, she had to use and strike back the same kind of harsh words. Okay, so let's move on to the next main of your textbook, wherein we have discussed the answers for the following questions in a group of 3 or 4, and then present your answers before other groups. So it's an oral kind of questions, but to make it clear, I have just brought it for you all. So the first question is, Mrs. Pandit had to face a lot of humiliating situations in her life. Give a brief account of the situations and comment on them. So you have to mention here what are the different situations, humiliating and suffering, and the problematic situations that was faced by Mrs. Pandit in her life. So you have to list down everything and comment. Means in one or few lines you have to say about it. So when you go to the chapter, you understand when you are summarizing it, when the whole summary is in your mind, you can just write it down very easily. So here you can also get the whole summary gist of the chapter here about the problems related to Mrs. Pandit. So the answer is, Mrs. Pandit had to face a lot of humiliating situations in her life, as we come to know from the chapter. Okay, so very first, as a widow, she has to fight for herself and her daughters, as the law did not entitle a widow or her daughters for a share in the family property. So the first thing, students, what she had to face was, as she was a widow, she had lost her husband, and for that she had to fight for herself and her daughters, because at that time the law did not give any priority for the widow and the daughters of that widow to have the share in the family property. They were neglected. They were not given even a small part of family property. So this was the first thing what she was facing. Then embittered, she wanted to go away, but this resentment and bitterness was removed from her heart by the wise counsel of Mahatma Gandhi ji, that no one can harm one except oneself. So, with this kind of situation, when she was facing from throughout the society, she was very much angry and upset. And she wanted to move away from this difficulty, from this problem. But this hatred and bitterness and anger, which was there in her mind and heart, was removed by the counseling of Mahatma Gandhi ji. And he very well, very nicely, he counseled her by saying that no one can harm one except oneself. So this was the statement which turned her life and she changed it thoroughly. Then the next humiliating experience which she underwent was when she was the leader of Indian delegation to UN for debate of India's complaint regarding ill treatment of the people of Indian origin in South Africa. So students, when we read the chapter, we come to know that the second experience, very bad and humiliating experience, which Vijayalakshmi Pandit underwent was when she became the leader of Indian delegation. She was resembling Indian delegation there in the UN for the debate. And the complaint was that Indians were ill-treated there in South Africa. So based on that, she had a discussion and a debate there. So what happened here was the opponents started making personal attacks against her and the country. For both they were using harsh words. So initially she responded in the same way, the same tone and the same harsh words. But later she remembered the Gandhiji's words and apologized to the leader of the opposing delegation and diffused the strained relations. Whatever relations had been just hampered there, she strained it, means she just made it again by apologizing the leader of the opposite delegation. So this was the second thing which she had an humiliating experience, and then she handled it very carefully. And the third humiliation was when she faced it when she had invited the PM of UK and Lady Eden for a dinner. Her cook got drunk and dazed, and dinner was not ready. She quickly got the food ready, and the tense situation was calmed with humor. So this is a little bit a personal kind again, where that she had invited PM of UK and Lady Eden for the dinner, but at that time the cook of Pandit was in a drunken state and did not ready the dinner. He had not made any dinner. But at that time she quickly handled the situation, and with humor and a kind of entertainment, she changed and handled the situation and got the food quickly ready. So this is how we come to know some of the humiliating situations of Mrs. Pandit along with some of the comments for her. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Comment on the title of the lesson with respect to Mrs. Pandit's experiences in different situations in her life. So the title, which is there, the best advice I ever had. You have to comment on this with the respect to Mrs. Pandit's experiences. Whatever situation she had in her life, is it best suited? The title, is it best suited with her experiences? So, so answer is the title of the lesson is best suitable because whenever Mrs. Pandit faced some difficult situation, the advice given by Mahatma Gandhi came to her rescue and helped her to overcome her problems. Right? Yes, right. Students, when we read the story or the chapter, we come to know that whenever Mrs. Pandit had some difficult situation in her life, she was undergoing through it. She had got advice from Mahatma Gandhi at first experience when she had a very bad experience at the first time, and that one particular advice helped her to rescue each and every time and helped her to overcome her problems in her life. Okay. Then, each time she faced some resentment, the advice given by Mahatma Gandhi that no one can harm one except oneself helped her remove her negative feelings and solve the problem in positive way. This advice was like a universal cure for all diseases. So as I said that each time whenever she faced some problem or resentment or bad times, the advice which was given by Mahatma Gandhi for the very first time for her that no one can harm one except oneself means unless you harm yourself, nobody can harm. Or unless you allow yourself to harm you and give the way to others, nobody can harm you. Okay. So this was the meaning of this statement, and this helped her each and every time to remove her negative feelings and solve the problem in a positive way. Then this became a universal cure for all diseases for her. Means where whatever problems came, she used to use this advice as a cure for it. Then moving to next question. From a reading of the lesson, write a note on Mrs. Pandit's accomplishments and her contributions to India. So when we read the lesson, we come to know various accomplishments and the contributions that were made by Mrs. Pandit. So we have to make a note on it. So let's see the answer. From the lesson, we can say that Vijayalakshmi Pandit was a woman of substance. After losing her husband, when she was made to understand that she was not entitled to her husband's property, she resented the idea that her identity was established only through her husband. She was displeased that though she had fought just as men had for the freedom of India, according to the age old ideas of conventional people, she had no individual existence. So yes, students, when we come to the lesson, we come to know that Mrs. Pandit was very strong and strengthful woman. She had a courage to face all kinds of difficult problems, and she had faced it very courageously throughout. And first of all, when she lost her husband, and she was made to understand that she will not be getting any property or any rights from the husband's property, she resented it. She was against it. She was very angry and upset with this idea that her identity was not established at all, and it was just on the basis of her husband. And then she added this. She was so displeased that even after being and working hard and struggling hard in the freedom fight for India along with men, she had no individual existence just because of this age old ideas of this traditional people. So this was very, you can say, a sad story in her life, and how courageously she has come up through it. Then, but she was a woman of strength. That is why she had the privilege of heading the Indian delegation to the UN. She had the ability to manage the difficult situation and turn it into a pleasant one. Okay, but even though she had so many problems, she was a woman of strength, and that is why that she got the opportunity to become the head of Indian delegation, the Indian team in the UN. And she had the ability to manage all the problematic situations and turn it into a pleasant one. So these were her accomplishments. How she has made some different laws. She has crossed some limitations, very old traditions which were hampering the rights of a woman. So here we see her accomplishments and contributions made by her for India. Moving on to the next questions. Means are as important as the end, said Gandhiji. Do you agree with this view? Justify your answer. So, do you think that the means, the way which you select to complete or to achieve your goal, that is end, is as important as your particular goal? So, if you agree with it, you have to justify your answer as it was said by Gandhiji. So, the answer is yes, I agree with this view. Ends are no doubt very important to everyone, but how one achieves it is more important. Okay, so ends means goals. The goals that are there in the life are very important, no doubt. But how you achieve it, the path you follow it is more important. Everyone works for achieving an ideal or a goal one has. No doubt everyone works very hard for achieving the goal. But in the process of achieving goal, one should not move out from the right path. Right, students? We should not forget the right path and go to some unnecessary or illegal means to achieve that goal. So the satisfaction one gets in the end will not be genuine and wholehearted. Even if one does not achieve one's goal but goes about preserving in a true way, the satisfaction one gets in trying is far better than the satisfaction of attaining the goal. So thus means are as important as the ends. Okay. Even if you don't achieve your goal which you require, but the way you have followed the path, the true way gives you more satisfaction than to achieve the goal if you are going on a true way in a true path. So thus we can say that means are as important as the ends. The ways are as important as much the goals. Okay. So moving on to the next question. Assume yourself to be a social activist. Write an article suggesting ways and means of removing gender discrimination that still exists in our society. You can discuss in groups and write down the article. So this is an article type of question. You have to write an article, your views and your opinions on the topic gender discrimination. Now, what is gender discrimination? It's discriminating or biasness on the basis of gender, female or male. Okay, so let's see the answer. It's an article. It's a small, you can say, comment on it. Gender discrimination starts even before birth. So when it starts even when the child is getting born in this world. When the child is in the womb itself, if it is determined to be female, there is danger of feticide. So we know from very early age that even if the child is in the womb and if it is determined, if it is known to them that it is a female in the womb, there is a danger of feticide. Means they tend to kill that child or the feticide inside, the fetus inside, because they don't want the female girl, the female baby. After birth, the girl child run the risk of infanticide. And even though if somehow the child is taking birth and it turns out to be girl, then it has the risk of infanticide. Infanticide is killing the small child, the young ones, okay, because just on the basis of discrimination. So when they grow up, they are discriminated in the field of education. They have passes, they are partial. They send the boys to the good schools and good educations are provided, whereas the girls are not. So these kinds of discriminations are done. Then when it comes to marriage, employed girls will have to give up the job to adjust with the family pattern of their husbands. And at the last, when the girls are getting married, they have to quit the job just because they have to adjust with their husband's family. So these are the things which are faced by the girl right and even from before the birth. Then thus there is discrimination against girls at every stage. We see that every stage where the girls go, they are discriminated. If this has to change, there should be a radical change in the way of society looks at girls. If we really want to change this, we have to change the thinking of the society, right? This is possible only when there are more awareness programs which erases the idea that girls are inferior to the boys. So what we have to do, it is possible only when we create awareness programs, and we give the idea, we erase the idea from the minds of the people that the girls are inferior or lower to the boys. Only when this idea is removed from the minds of the people, we'll have no discrimination. And this is not an easy task, but the task which we are challenging shouldn't be given up. We should not give up the challenging task. We have to work for it and we have to go ahead. Then we should try and accomplish such tasks with greater resolve. We have to work hard, and more of the resolutions should be taken care of, and we have to try to resolve this problem. To solve this problem, the individuals and the government should join hands to bring out much needed change in the society. So it cannot be done by one single person. So individuals and the government and the other institutions should join their hands together so that they can bring change in the society. Thus, there should also be a strict punishment to those who go against women empowerment. And the person who are going against women empowerment, who are going against women's rights, they should be given strict punishment. So with these things, we can resolve gender discrimination to a greater extent. I hope I made it clear, students. It was an article. You can add on your own points to this answer. So here with this answer, we come to an end of this question and answers of this chapter. I hope it was informative and interesting for you all. If you like the video, do hit the like button and share with your friends. And we'll be back soon with more such videos. Thank you.